Yep.
Good afternoon. I'm Tim Takaro. I'm a professor at Simon Fraser University in the Faculty of Health Sciences. Those of you who know me, I have been working on the health impacts of climate change for the past 30 years. And that we are stopping the construction of the Transmountain pipeline, also known around here as Trudeau's pipeline, because the Prime Minister bought it from Kinder Morgan, former Enron executives, because he thought it was in the national interest that we destroy the planet. So we're occupying this because the company wants to cut the trees here in order to put it in the pipeline. And right now there's anonymous climber up there, but Kristian my colleague here, Thuring, is just down a few minutes ago, and she's awesome. She'll show her, and we trained her in 2 days. Basically, she had some basic mountaineering skills, and then we trained her up, and then she went up there for 5 days. So that's the potential, and here she is in the flesh.
So I guess with Tim and Curtis and myself, we have now occupied this space, the aerial camp, for 17 plus 5 days, right?
And we went up August 3rd.
Days. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's definitely cut into the window where, this area could be logged. And that's a big success in itself, right? I think one thing that's really come up in the last couple days, we were wondering why there wasn't any media coverage, very little media coverage, and then it just became very clear that the media was being muzzled. Not only the Canadian media, but the international media. So that turned into a story in itself, by some great misfortune, but we had a Danish journalist, Kristian Lindhart, who has a lot of experience with Indigenous sovereignty issues, specifically with fossil fuel extraction projects. And he has a relationship with the Tsleil-Waututh Nation already. So he was coming over to cover this story. He got stopped.
From Denmark. He flew from Denmark to YVR to Vancouver.
Right. He made it through the first round of security, and then he got stopped, and he was questioned for a ridiculous number of hours.
3 hours the first night.
3 hours the first night, then he was given a hotel room.
No, his friend's apartment, they had quarantine all arranged, friend's apartment, and he just had to come back to the airport at 7 o'clock in the morning. That would be Saturday.
Right. So he gets back to the airport, they're just kind of sorting it out. His friend went to get him a coffee. Next thing she knew, he'd been sent onto the plane and he was gone.
But, key fact, he was interrogated another 2 hours Saturday morning, and the guard told him that they had to call Ottawa. They had to check with Ottawa, and so they called somebody in Border Services at YVR, called somebody in Ottawa, and then they deported him when his friend was out of the room getting him coffee. So it clearly is from above in Ottawa, suppressing press freedoms under the guise of COVID-19, because they said, oh, you're not an essential worker. Well, in actual fact, because there has been zero coverage by Canadian mainstream print media, and I'm choosing my words carefully here, Canadian mainstream print media has not said one word that citizens have been blocking a $20 billion government project we're now in our 4th week, and I, as a science reviewer of the approval process, showed that the approval process was rigged. So $20 billion project blocked for almost going on 4 weeks. We're in our 4th week. And rigged process, not news. So it's essential that we have foreign journalists come to report the story. And the government, that would be Trudeau, has deported this journalist under false pretense that he didn't have a very well worked out quarantine plan. And how many journalists have they let in since COVID started? A lot. So this is total fabrication on Trudeau's government. And thank you, Border Services, for offering us this gift of publicity, because now the international press is going nuts with how Canada suppresses press freedom.
I'd say that's a wrap, or where it stands now. It's constantly emerging. I think the take-home message is stop TMX, stop Transmountain expansion.
Protect the planet.
We're pissed.